1997 is when I learned that I had an aneurysm. I guess I was lucky to discover that earlier, by...
Was it headaches? Did you have headaches?
It's headaches. It's sight. I couldn't see closely, and my eyelid would be like really going lower, and apparently it's something that I was born with. I didn't know. And at the same time, back in France, we were skiing up in the Alps with the family, and then I broke my hand,
okay,
which was my left hand, and then I went back to Lebanon with
a cast,
with a cast for 3 weeks, I guess. And then, funny enough, during that same period, there was someone who was doing a monoski, also at the Alps, and he came right in my spine.
He crashed into you?
He crashed in my spine.
Ah.
And in that one, I was like, oh my God, I hope I'm not paralyzed,
Wait, you broke your hand, he crashed, and that was one thing you broke your hand?
One thing I broke my hand. One thing he crashed me.
He crashed into you?
I came back to Lebanon. 2 or 3 months after, I realized I have this brain
oh my goodness. 3 things in like...
It was an interesting year,
1997 is almost as bad as 2020.
So I was hospitalized for almost maybe 2 months. I can't even remember the timing. So first time I went to the hospital for a couple of days, they didn't know what I had. I had headaches for 3-4 days. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And then I was let go for maybe another month. And then by mistake, my father was present, and I was looking at the sunlight, and then my pupil was big. Usually the pupil should be smaller.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, let's go. There's something wrong.
Oh my goodness.
This is where I started doing all the right tests. So when my parents took the decision that I should do surgery, they needed my consent because there were many risks to take if I would go under a brain surgery.
That's not a small surgery.
No. It's not a small surgery. But what happens is important. Is that in the moment of fear, I felt strong. Even knowing that I had 30% chance of dying at the age of 30 if I don't do the surgery, I want to live.
Yeah.
So I'm like, with all the risk that might be being paralyzed, blind, deaf, whatever, I was ready. And I said, if God wants to take me, I'm ready.
Was it because you didn't want to disappoint your parents? You wanted to show strength? You're mature for a 16-year-old for that. In face of potential death there, or like a big surgery, you were... How did you have that maturity? Was it your parents? Was it your teachers? How did you build that?
Definitely my parents are super, super amazing people. And they brought us to believe that, you know what, we need to let go and live and don't be afraid. And they're so open, they're so liberal, they're so welcoming and full of love. And... seeing your parents that they might lose a child and already with what they've been through in Lebanon through the war at the beginning when we were born, me and my sister, and having, other things too, that, losing kids and stuff, it's not easy.
Yeah.
And you just need to have faith. Having faith change your life. So what happened in going in this surgery and coming out, I felt like, good, strong and everything. And 3 days after, my parents come to me and they're like, we have good news and bad news. I'm like, the good news is like, you're here, you're functional, you're perfect, everything's fine. The bad news is that when they opened the brain, it was too big to be clipped.
Really?
And I'm like, oh my God, so what are we going to do now? Like, well, we are going to have an emergency visa to go to France. Being Lebanese, we don't have a perfect passport that allows us to travel wherever we want, anytime we want. So you need to apply for visas and wait and everything. So we got the visa like in 3 days, which we were super lucky because it was recommended by the doctor. And I went there, and the day of the surgery in the morning, the doctor comes in and like, hey, are you ready? I'm like, yeah, hell yeah, I want to just get over this.
Yeah. Seriously.
He's like, well, you know what, just do that. You have 6% chance of dying on my table. There's nothing to worry about. We're not going to do a brain surgery. We're going to just do it like an embolisation. So it's in a way.
Okay, so they're going to go inside through the artery to remove the blood clot. They're not going to
block it.
To block it, okay.
To block the artery.
Oh, yeah.
So you need to be awake. Conscious.
Really? Oh my goodness. But the first operation you were out though.
Yes.
Okay, but the second one you needed to be awake. Oh my goodness.
I was feeling, they were asking me, move your finger, move your toe. Do you feel that? Do you feel this? The beauty about the story for me is that when the doctor came in my room in the morning, he said, "Hey, so I'm gonna give you a very good gift today." And I'm like, "Yay, of course, it's my birthday." What a gift. Because you don't know. Being born again on
That
your
was
birthday,
the gift. That was the gift.
It was a perfect gift. You know what? When you believe, when you have faith, things change.
So you were reborn in 1997 and you had a rough year, but it turned out to be probably the best year as well.